Hey coach, today we're going to talk about energetically upleveling your home office for 2021 so that way you can attract more clients and money and success into your coaching business. My name is Krista Kathleen. I'm a life coach and business mentor, and I specialize in helping new life coaches get started and build thriving online coaching businesses. All right, so a lot of you might know that I am almost done with writing my first book, Beyond the White Picket Fence, and my ghostwriter and editor, Nikki, wanted to introduce me to these two amazing women, Corinne and Kirsten, who have started this amazing professional space clearing company. And so today I am going to be interviewing them, and they are going to help you, especially if you work from home, which so many of us do now with the pandemic. And I've been working online and working from home since 2016. But if you're new to working at home and you're a new life coach, and you need to watch this and learn some of these amazing tips that we're going to be sharing with you all today. How to vibify your space and energetically up-level your home so that way you can clear any stale and stagnant energy so that way it doesn't hold you back from running your coaching business in any way. All right, so Corinne and Kirsten, welcome to our interview today. I am so excited for both of you to share all of your knowledge and wisdom that you have with my online audience today. And I cannot wait for everyone to hear your unique story. So the both of you have started the company, the Clearing Company. And yes, you have a very unique story behind how it started. So I'd love for both of you to, talk a little bit about that story and how this vision came to life.
So Corinne and I actually both came from the real estate industry. I own a real estate brokerage, and Corinne and I work together as agents. And during one of our business planning sessions, Corinne mentioned that she clears listings in order to sell them. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so Kirsten was in the process of getting ready to sell her house, and she was curious if I could come over and clear her house. So it was kind of a unique conversation because we're in a professional setting where the dialogue of energy and space clearing maybe isn't appropriate when you're in a business setting. So I went to Kirsten's house, and the numbers of her house gave me room for pause because it is such a difficult number to live under. I was shocked that she had been there for 17 years and not having her nervous system completely falling apart.
Oh, wow.
Because the energy of her house would have been like you're in prison, but you don't really know that you can walk out the front door and not be in a jail cell.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Well, and it's so interesting because I felt that way and wanted to sell our house for a long time. It was the house that we raised our kids in. I'd really been ready to go. And I literally had the thought, put it on the market, I wonder if this house is going to go of us. Like, it felt like jail is the perfect description of that. It was a beautiful house. I mean, we made great memories there, but when it came to actually letting it go, Corinne was right on with that, for sure.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So it was a good 2 hours that we cleared our house. It was 17 years of energy. So at the end of it, we kind of realized that we have something very unique in the dynamic between the two of us. And neither of us intended it really to go anywhere, and then it just kind of did.
Yeah, exactly. When we were standing at my entryway, when the clearing was done, Corinne said to me, I brought someone with me. She had cleared a house yesterday. And I am a medium and connect with people who've passed. And I said to her, you did. I can see him standing behind you. Let me have a conversation with him and get him to go where he needs to go, which means whatever his version of the next step is. There is a zone, I kind of call it like the mid-range, where energy after they pass can get stuck. And it's what we would say where ghosts or poltergeists live. So I had a conversation with him and was able to send him home. It was really beautiful. But at that moment, what Corinne and I realized was you could come in, we could come in and clear a house, or Corinne could clear my house and remove that energy, but really where they needed to. If there was ghost energy in the house, and not every house has ghosts. Mine didn't actually until Corinne brought that ghost with her. And so then it was born from there. And so we started doing Corinne's listings and her clearings together, and it just blossomed into something. Corinne tends to be very grounded, very earth. I tend to not be, which was why Corinne, when you came to clear my house, it was so busy. Yeah. Because I'd invited a lot of energy in, which I tend to do. And Corinne has like, no, she's very firm boundaries with that. So that's how our two unique perspectives came together to serve our clients. It's like pie.
Yeah. Wow. That is, yeah, such a cool story. So, kind of what I was hearing is like, Corinne, I know you're really into numerology, and we can talk a little bit more about that. And yeah, I feel that too. You have this very like grounded energy. And then Kirsten, you have this unique skill set of what would you say is the proper term for seeing dead people? Is there
I think
a respectful
you're
term?
A medium. I think a medium.
Okay.
Fits.
Okay. I just don't want to right. I want to really respect this, right? Because there's a lot of, I think, taboo and misconceptions around what's going on in these other worlds and everything. And so, basically you can, see people who, maybe they've gotten stuck here and they need more guidance on. When you said like you help them to go home, like where are they going home to?
I guess it would be whatever their version of heaven is. Heaven is a frequency. It's like a high light, like very high vibe frequency. Whatever their next level is. So not even the next level, they can jump a few levels once they pass to get to whatever that is. And not everyone believes in heaven, but we drop so much of our dead weight, like literally when we die, that what normally happens is we float, like our energy goes to where that high light energy exists.
Just to back up a little bit, I like to think of Kirsten as a bridge. She's like a connector. So it's a really unique skill set that not everybody, well, I would say if you really wanted to tap into it, you could, but you have to be very cautious about your own energy fields, because you're dipping into something that is unseen, right? So it leaves a lot of room open, but she's such a beautiful connector for people who I consider would be stuck. So they could be stuck in a dimension where they're not able to go home. They're not able to go to what we would call heaven. And that could be for a number of reasons, like they had a traumatic death, or they're not able to process emotionally what has happened to them. And so they're not a match to that higher level frequency.
Wow. Oh my gosh. It's almost like a normal relationship that you would have with a person on earth that has unprocessed trauma, or they're in a bad mood and it's starting like to affect you and you're taking on their problems. And same thing, it sounds like, can happen in the spirit world too.
It's identical to that. Like there's literally no difference.
Wow.
It's identical to that. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then you guys basically combined your two superpowers, and now you are doing professional space clearings for residential homes, and then also for real estate agents, like people who are listing their homes. You do it for professional businesses as well. So, right, like just so many great things that you offer. And then I would love to know, like, so for someone like myself that is an online life coach and works from home, why would it be important for someone to use your services and clear out their space and high vibe their space in order to really productively and efficiently run their
Mm.
home business?
That's so good. Houses collect all the energy of what's come before or anybody who's come into this space. So you were talking, Krista, about somebody who maybe isn't as high vibe as you would like. The energy that they bring into your house, and that means family members, it stays. Like literally your space is a collection of all those events. So any illness, any fight, any strife, any financial worry, all of those things, it's like a fish. It's the water that we swim in and we're not even consciously aware of it. So for like your clients that are potentially looking at turning on their superpowers, like using their highest skills in the world, it is such a potent time to have your house cleared, your space, because it clears the slate and allows you to then, what we do as part of the process is reinfuse it with whatever you intend. And that's the hard thing, is that we're just unconsciously moving through our lives and life is happening. I mean, right? And we've experienced that definitely in this last year. We're not always aware of how our house feels. We're not. It's just the zone that we're in. So I recommend it for anyone that's going through transition, wants to up level. Like one of the things that is we create conscious homes. That would be my answer.
So you kind of already touched on this, but I have noticed with my coaching clients that, when they hire me, they are getting ready to transition in life and they're getting ready to up level in so many different areas. And I do goal setting with them. And one of the first goals they set almost every single time is they want to declutter their home. They want to sell stuff, make more space in their home. They want to get organized. And I was like, why is this happening? So I kind of have an idea, but I would love to hear from the two of you. Like, yeah, why is that? Why is usually that kind of the first step when you're getting ready to like up level your life in this really big way?
When you're getting ready to make a big change and transition, what I find is that most people don't want to hold on to anything that they can no longer carry. So people tend to subconsciously, or maybe even consciously, start to declutter, clear out their space because they're making way for what's new to come. They're taking out the old that no longer serves them to fill it up with the things that they are going towards in their life.
Makes so much sense.
Super powerful.
I love that. To dovetail on that, the thing our house carry energy. Not everything is a match to the end that we want to create or where we're going next. So having that be the first step is so powerful. Like that is the perfect first step. All of our objects have a frequency. And when we think in our minds about where we're going next, what we'd like to create, anything that's not a match to that, it's time to let go of. And that's physically, emotionally, like energetically. So we address some of the physical, most of the energetic. So the 1-2 combo of you decluttering, like literally going through your house and anything that like doesn't light you up and being in the house, you let go of. Yeah. Even as frightening as that is. Once you do that, the universe abhors a void. So the energy will swoop into that cleared space. So being intended about the energy that you fill the space with is so important and it's so powerful. So it makes so much sense that that would be the first step.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. After I went through, I call it my hurricane year in 2016, and I got divorced, I got fired. I just was like, I need to start over. I need to, rediscover myself. And I wanted to sell everything. I wanted to burn
Yes.
everything. I cut off all my
Oh,
hair. Like you're right. I just had to
yes.
like let go of everything that reminded me of that past version of myself,
Yes.
the painful memories, so I could start fresh. I could be lighter. And it was so, so powerful because
Yeah.
I couldn't really enter into the next phase with like looking the same way and having the physical belongings and then the energy too. And that's what my first life coach helped me to do, was really to shift and change my energy into the new person that I was becoming. So I like what you said, that there's like, there's the physical stuff, but then there's the energetic stuff as well.
Yeah.
And both need to shift and change
Yes.
when you're.
And it always is a combination of both. It always is. It's interesting when we do remote clearings, a component of it is walking through, like literally on the phone with somebody, walking through their house remotely with them and having them witness the way that their house feels. And we become so accustomed to the way that, and it's room by room, it can be space by, I mean, you literally can enter a new doorway and it's energetically an entirely different place. We become so accustomed to it that we don't see it. So know up front that if you want to create something new, that yes, having it start with your space, decluttering, letting go of old things is such an important component of that.
People sometimes really have no idea what their house is reflecting back to them. Like,
Yes.
like no idea. And you wouldn't unless somebody brought your awareness to it. So.
And now
Yeah.
with COVID and being quarantined, like we are confined to this space all day long. Like there are some days where I don't leave my house for days except to maybe go on a quick 10-minute walk with my baby or check the mail. But so it's like even eye-opening for me to think of like, wow, I'm spending so much time in this space and I haven't really addressed if there's these other issues or energetic issues going on with my house, and how that could be
Yes.
affecting me, how that could be affecting my relationship, how that could be affecting my business. Like,
Yes.
So I'll just share this with you because this is such a good example of how our homes reflect back to us. So I don't know if you can see that picture above my bed.
I do, yeah. The infinity.
Yeah, so I had an awareness in 2020 that changed it because I used to have a picture of me and my daughter above my bed, and I'm a single mom. So I was walking around my house and I'm like, oh, I have a picture of me and my daughter, which means I'm married to my daughter.
Above my bed.
Above my bed.
Oh, wow.
So I changed it. I'm like, I need to change that to what I want to create, which is a really, loving relationship.
Right.
So I was looking for a heart or infinity or love or something, but it's like, yeah, it was an eye opener even for me. Like, oh, that's what I'm putting out there.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
I have a story related to that too. I did a remote clearing with a client who lived with her boyfriend. They'd been together for the last 15 years, a very comfortable relationship. They didn't sleep in the same bedroom. She slept 2 floors below him. They had like a tri-level kind of townhouse near the beach. There was a lot of resentment there. He had gone through a lot of surgeries and they'd had a lot of life changes. And we started outside her house and started moving through the house. She was having a lot of awarenesses. She walked into his bedroom and she could feel the energy of his bedroom. And it was actually a lot of sadness. And she could feel his sadness. And the heart opening that she experienced, because he had really been struggling, but she was so resentful, she couldn't even see it. She wasn't there for him at all, was mind blowing. I mean, just entering into the bedroom and then experiencing what that energy feels like literally changed where their relationship was, because obviously he got home that day and she felt completely differently towards him because he really had been in a struggle. And she'd been walking to his bedroom every day. I mean, they shared this big house together. And when she could feel his sadness, she realized it wasn't that he was failing her. He didn't have it to give. and that what her role is as somebody who loves him is to buoy him up and be there in a different way than she had been.
Yeah.
That's what what you were saying, Corinne, about what our house is reflecting back to us.
Mhm.
It's like we don't even need to leave those four walls to be aware of what's happening in our relationships, in our lives, why we're, continuously creating what we are. It's very impactful. And so that is what a remote clearing is you giving yourself the gift, the opportunity of witnessing what it is that your house is saying to you, but then also room by room, what that energy feels like. And then we talk about how you can shift it.
So when I moved into this house with my boyfriend, he bought this house with his fiance. And it didn't work out. She lived here for about a year and then moved out and then got married to another guy. And, one of the first things I wanted to do when I moved into this house, 5 years later with Kyle, is I wanted to get rid of all the stuff. And I wanted to paint all the walls and redecorate. And he got really frustrated and it was a lot of source of tension, but I just felt like I needed to. But still, at the end of the day, I still always feel this like lingering of, this isn't our house, this isn't our space. And you're right, like I'm sure there's this other energy there from them buying this house together as a couple. Probably her energy is still in here, and we're actually going to probably be moving in about 6 months. But I didn't even think about how that could be impacting our relationship too on a deeper energetic level. So this is like, again, wow.
Yeah, that's so good. It is. I mean, it can't help but impact it. Corinne and I talk about people will ask, how do you know if a ghost is in your house? So yours is a little bit different. How do you know and the ex-fiance is there and impacting you guys? If you have the thought of it, if it bubbles up in your awareness, then it probably is true. Like those things just don't
Right.
land in your consciousness if you're not, reading signs and you're not getting an awareness from a deeper place.
Right.
And the nice thing is, Krista, there's some really simple things. And I'd love to go through that process with you that you can do in order for you to feel more pure, more clear ownership of that house. Mm-hmm. Even though you're only going to be there for the next 6 months, super important for you to feel that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah. And probably even just to cleanse it before we would sell it as well too. So that way, for the next owners. But yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So what you just said right there is so powerful because so it started for us in the real estate industry. We had a client that listed a house that was the cutest, darling house that would not sell. Like literally they got no written offers. And if you know what's going on in the real estate industry, there's no inventory. I mean, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. We went in and cleared it. And the client who had seen it the very first time when it first came on the market came back again. It was 6 months later. And they said, this house feels like a different house. And they literally wrote an offer and live there now.
Oh my God.
And nothing, it was a vacant house. So nothing in the house changed other than the energy of the house. It's a real thing.
So what you're saying is like, if your house isn't selling, like people need to work with both of you and hire you because you can quickly turn that around with clearing up the
literally
energetically.
That is literally, it was about maybe a 90-minute, maybe an hour, 90-minute session. And yes, 100%. And it's becoming so much more common. I mean, we are tuning forks for energy and people are becoming so much more aware of that. People go into a house. I mean, if somebody's been fighting in a room, you walk in and you're like, okay, what just happened in here? Well, it's the same with houses. So anything that's come before is just lying stagnant. Now, this house, interestingly enough, had two energies, dead people that were living in it. One of them very benign, one of them not benign. And so we went in and, did our thing and had that conversation. And he wasn't super happy, but he left. And so, yeah, he definitely put up a fight. But yes, we never really know what exactly is going on in a house, but it can be super impactful if you're trying to sell. We also have a lot of buyers hire us. That was one of our very first clients, was my husband's best friend, who I sold a house to, and he said, we're not moving a stick of furniture in until you clear it, because they didn't like the last owners.
And I
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know anybody who hasn't had the experience or can relate to the experience of walking into a space and just like immediately having a feeling like something's off. Like they don't know what, but it just feels off.
Yeah.
And so they, especially for buyers, they would, walk into a house and immediately they're like, nah, not for me. And they walk out, but they don't know why. It just doesn't feel right. And a lot of that is the energy of the house. And it could be the energetic imprints of the past, or it could be the vibration of the house.
And this is good too for my audience, because a lot of the life coaches that I work with and I attract are very sensitive women, they're empathic women, spiritual, some are also mediums themselves, and they're just, really in tune to their environment. And so I think this is going to be so eye-opening for a lot of people who, like myself, that are very affected by our environments. Another example, I'm still trying to figure out what was happening with this situation, but when I was traveling all over the world for 2 years, I was moving to a new country like every 1 to 3 months, and I was in Budapest, Budapest, Hungary for 2 months, and I wanted to get out of that country so bad. I hated the city. Like the minute I got there, I just was like crying. I felt like I was going to die. I felt like I couldn't breathe. It just felt like there was so much sadness, and I didn't know what was going on. And I still don't. I don't know. I've been to a lot of countries now, and there's countries that I definitely feel like more in home than others, but it was just so crazy how I was so picking up on the energy of that place. And I was like, I can't be here.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Cities and locations definitely have frequencies. For you to have that strong a reaction, you probably were either a past life or a parallel life, suffering some trauma there. Like, I don't think you can just make that up. For you to have physically, to have that strong a reaction to it, if something happened for you there, like maybe specifically there, that you were touching into.
Yeah, you're correct. Because I literally had a panic attack. I called my life coach and I was like, I feel like I'm going to die and I don't know why. It was insane.
Probably because you did. Isn't it interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to both of you all day long about sex and life, so my life can make sense.
Your life does make sense. Your life makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're doing amazing things.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Beautiful things. Yeah. Yes.
Appreciate that. So Corinne, I would love to hear more from you. And you were talking earlier about with Kirsten's house, and you're saying like the numbers didn't make sense. Can you tell us a little bit more of like, how does numerology work with houses?
Yeah, so numerology is so interesting, and it really requires a faith or a belief that numbers are universal and that everything can be reduced to a number, or the world is made up of a mathematical equation. And so if we have that belief, then we know that there are universal principles in numbers that survive time. The frequency of a number can impact your life based on those principles. If you are living in a house, the number of the house can vibrate that frequency. And it's always temporary. Whenever you're in a home, it's temporary. So it's a temporary vibration. But based on what the house number is, will be what you can expect to experience for the time that you're living in that house. So it's super interesting what houses people get aligned to. and what they can experience, or then what they're not a match to, and they don't even know it. That's what they're experiencing while they're there. And there's certain numbers that are really conducive to selling your home, and there's certain numbers that are not. And then there's certain numbers that would bring in like a family type environment, or there's certain numbers that would bring in fame, power, financial success. I mean, it's the whole gamut. So being aware of your house number and how it potentially impacts your life is super empowering, because it's just the flow. And if you know that, then you can manage it better.
So it's kind of like fortune telling for your house in a way, based
Kind
off
of, yeah.
numbers. And the numbers are like the numbers in front, like your street address. They're
House
like
number.
this is 1079 Caleb Drive. So what you like add up the numbers of like 1079, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Because yeah,
Are you going to do it right now, Corinne?
Yeah, I am.
Yes. One comment I want to make about that is, once you become aware of what your number is vibrating, what that frequency is, you can change it. So like with mine, Corinne literally had me at a 1 to the end of it. And I painted over the 1, so it doesn't even have to be visible, but symbolically I changed that number. I want to say in pretty short order, our house sold.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you say you symbolically changed that, what do you mean?
Well, it didn't have to be visible. So I literally got on a ladder, and up on our eaves, I, with white paint, did a 1, but then I took the color of that paint once it dried and painted over it.
So you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know.
So you wouldn't see it. Nobody driving by would see that there's a white 1 after it, but under that layer of paint, I changed the number. So one of the things that Corinne and I talked about doing is, if people are interested in knowing, like you, Krista, I could see you start to write, Corinne.
Yeah.
If people want to know what the frequency of their house number is, we would be, I'm volunteering you, Corinne.
Yeah.
Would be fine doing that assessment.
Yeah. So Krista, you're in an 8 house.
Okay.
So 8 is that fame, power, wealth, fortune.
Okay.
So
Yay.
the thing that we have to be aware of, though, with numbers is that there's polarity. So there's always the highest frequency of that number and then the lowest. So if you're going to be in an 8 house, you can accumulate a lot of wealth.
Okay.
But if that energy is not used wisely, it can be the opposite, where you are struggling for wealth. So it's always a fine balance.
All right. Well, thank you.
So interesting that you're online speaking to your audience in an 8 house.
Yeah, and I designed my whole office in like just with these bright colors and this high energy as a way to attract a lot of clients and build a lot of money in my coaching business and have it be.
Yeah.
I like specifically wanted an office space that would do that would bring in a lot of money and wealth and success.
Yeah. So 8 houses, the key is to be responsible with money so that you can live up to that high frequency of that number. So
I have a lot of my clients have difficulty sleeping at night, and they're always asking me for advice around like, what can I do to sleep better? And so I'm curious, like, what kind of advice would you give to someone that how could maybe their bedroom be affecting their sleep at night? It's kind of like a vague question. I feel like it's like when someone comes to a doctor and says, I'm not feeling well, what's wrong with me?
No, it's not. There's a lot of tools that people can use to support better sleep. You can use crystals. Crystals are great for supporting energy, especially amethyst for sleep. Although I would say that's more for kids. If you have kids that are having trouble sleeping, just put it under their pillow or under the bed. If they're,
amethyst.
because kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. So amethyst under the pillow of a kid who can't sleep. All right.
Or under the bed. And I find with kids too, because they live in that really creative imaginary space. If you have a child that is like afraid of the dark or afraid of, what's in the closet or, has to have the light on, if you explain to them that the crystal is there to help and protect them, it's like, oh, they have that safety net right there. For adults, I mean, you could use amethyst, but you could use selenite. Selenite is always good to have by your bed. Or you could use little clear quartz crystal points, like the small ones. And then if you just put them on each of the four corners of your bed, it will definitely help you sleep better at night.
I've got a few energetic recommendations. Before you fall asleep at night, it's really potent when you're in that kind of in-between place between waking and sleeping. Ask for love or above. Like literally feel in your heart center that only loving energy, high vibration, high frequency will come into your space while you sleep at night. And then what I like to imagine is from that heart center place, creating an egg, like a circle that radiates out, and it can go as far as you want it to, but nothing comes into that space that isn't love or above. The other thing that I want to say is that not sleeping a lot at night, we're really busy at night. Like our unconscious is really busy. And I like the idea that we're traveling, that we're astral traveling, that we're being visited, that other new information is coming in for us when we're resting, when our conscious minds are out of the way. Don't fight it. Like seriously, you will get the sleep that you need. And so the more that you can surrender, like even in the moment you know that you're awake and you start to worry about not being able to fall back asleep and everything that you have to do the next day, you can breathe into that and relax. Just let what is trying to come in. So it's kind of a two-parter, like circle up. And I do that when I clear houses. I circle up. I feel like inside I have really high light energy. I don't think I'm a match to anything dark. So I tend to be fearless when I'm interacting with that energy. But I love the idea of creating that kind of dome, that egg shape. And you can take it out. It can encompass your house. You can take it out a half a mile, that nothing negative or dark can come into that space. And then just know it's perfect. Like whatever is happening, like something is being born for you in those moments, totally surrender to it.
Wow.
I love that, Kirsten.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, you could even take it a step farther. You could put that dome of bright white light. You could put it over your neighborhood. You could put it over the state of California. You could
literally
extend it all over the United States and then all over the world.
You literally could. I do like the idea, that metaphor of putting your mask on first, as we're starting to play with the energy and become aware of the energy, that really circling up around yourself is really okay. And then as we get better at it, sending it farther out. I like the idea, especially if the practice is new, of really focusing on you. And the interesting thing is the more yous in the world that are happy, the happier the world is. So even when we're focusing on ourselves, it's a huge contribution, right?
Yeah.
Energetically.
Cool message. Absolutely. One that I believe in as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to tell life coaches, that have never worked with a coach before, just work with a coach first, experience being the client first, help yourself first. And that is going to let you be able to greatly help more people and make a bigger impact.
Yes.
But yeah, we get so focused on always wanting to help other people. But I do truly believe if we can help ourselves first, and that is what the world needs more of at this time.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. So let's say that one of my beautiful, amazing life coaches stumbles across this video. They're watching this interview and they're like, oh my gosh, I love you guys. My home needs this. I'm getting ready to start a new life coaching business. I want to attract a lot of clients and success and money and good vibes, and they just want to up level their home, what would be the next steps that they would take in order to work with both of you?
It's super simple. We have a website. It's theclearing.company. We have ways to book sessions. So if you want to do a remote clearing, absolutely. Right now, we're doing remote. We also have products, and Corinne, you can talk a little bit about the product side of things
Yeah.
too.
So there may be people that are, just stepping into this new awareness of energy, and maybe they're not ready to go into like a full space clearing, but we have like a lot of tools that people can use with products to help their space. I'd say they're mostly maintenance products, after you have a deep clearing, but they're effective. If you just want to open the door. So we have room sprays, we have bath salts, we have crystals, we have herbs that you can use and that fill up your space with all that good intention.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, they'll go to your website, which is theclearing.company, and then they can book a professional on the line remote clearing with both of you. And how much does something like that usually cost?
The remote clearing is $250. It lasts about 60 to 90 minutes. It's very cathartic, and they can be intense because usually our houses have a lot to say to us. So the remote clearing is $250.
Cool. What a steal. Yeah, something
We're
that's
also
going
on
to
Instagram.
greatly, change somebody's life and their business, and, can help to improve everything. And then how often would you say would like someone need to do one of these clearings in their home?
That's such a good question. I think it depends on what's going on in their life and how stable or how much things have stayed the same. So really, anytime there's been a major disruption or transition, it's a good time for a house clearing. What everybody just came out of in this last year, every single person on the planet needs to have their house cleared. 100%. I think that we become aware of when the energy doesn't feel the way that we want it to, and that could just be because our lives aren't going the way we want them to. Any of those times, super beautiful time to have a house clearing.
Oh, I wish that I would have found you both before I had my son Lincoln at home. And that was, such a crazy time when I just was constantly wanting to clean and organize to get ready for his arrival. So that would have been so useful. Yeah, no, like I said, I'm definitely going to work with both of you and have you cleanse the home now, right? Because we did just have a baby, and then everything happening in the world, and then getting ready to sell the house. So 100% my home's ready. Bring it on.
Yeah, that's so good. I love it.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This was so amazing. Thank you for sharing your love and wisdom and knowledge with my audience today. And I can't wait for everybody to hear about what you all are doing, and so they can work with you and just have some beautiful, energetic spaces for 2021.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Krista.
So much.
This is awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Okay, I wanted to give you a quick little update. It's been a little over 2 weeks since I did a house clearing session with Kirsten, and oh my gosh, wow, there was so many things that my house was reflecting back to me that I had no idea, right? And that's why we hire professionals and coaches to show us the things that we can't see. So I want to share some of those things that came out of my house clearing session that I did with Kirsten. The first thing was she was able to quickly identify where there was issues in my relationship with Kyle, which was mind-blowing. We did this all on the phone, and she was having me walk from room to room and standing in front of the house and just reflecting back what I saw and felt in each room, and then how that was showing up in different areas of my life. And lately, I have not been feeling deeply connected with my boyfriend and partner, Kyle. And so she recommended that specifically like in our living room to paint the walls a different color and to bring fresh flowers in the house and to bring in like this different energy so that way Kyle and I can take time to connect every day. So that was huge for me. And I've seen our relationship definitely start to improve since this house clearing session. Also, like I mentioned in the interview, Kyle had bought this house with his past fiance. So a lot of her energy was still lingering here in the house, and specifically in my office and in our bedroom. And so Kirsten showed me some different exercises to do to like bring in fire into the room, and to say these different like rituals and just to burn all the energy away. And the next morning after doing these exercises, the next morning after I woke up, I just felt so much lighter and refreshed and good, and like, okay, this is our home, this is mine and Kyle's home. We're not going to share it with any past things that have happened. So I'm so grateful that I was able to do that, and to cleanse, her energy out of my space. And also in return, it also let me have better boundaries in my business, and with other different female relationships as well. So it was all about like creating these energetic boundaries and not sharing my space with any past girlfriends or fiancés. So overall, I'm really, really grateful that I did this session with Kirsten. I feel so much better, especially like I said, since I run my coaching business full time out of my home. I rarely leave my house. So it feels so much better now that the house feels lighter. I wake up, I feel more refreshed and excited to work in my business. I feel more productive and focused. And I've also had a ton of discovery calls in the past couple of weeks as well, and I've hired on some new clients too. So I definitely want to contribute that to the session that I did with Kirsten. So if this video inspired you today, make sure to check out the links below in the description section, and to book a session with Kirsten and Corinne so that they can help you spiritually and energetically cleanse the space in your home, so that way you can up-level your life and bring more success into your coaching business as well.